Our guest this hour is Colleen Rickenbacher. She's an etiquette expert. The website is crspeaks.com. Probably one of my favorite guests that we have on. Colleen, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm well, thanks. A funny thing happened to me on the way into the office this morning, and I actually overslept this morning, but that's not a big deal for me because now I work out of my house, so I literally have to walk across the hall and I'm at work. In more than 12 years, 10 to 12 years, I cannot remember being late at all for work. I don't do it. My motto is always on time is late. But I saw this survey out of CareerBuilder, the most memorable employee excuses for being late. And I wanted to go I not only wanted to go through them with you, but I wanted to talk about, how, you're an etiquette expert, maybe how we can come up with, another way of breaking it to our bosses that we've been late.
Oh, some of the excuses people come up with are amazing. And, just to say that you're late is one thing, but when they do it habitually is another. People will come up with these off the wall, they say they just had crashes, they just did this. They're just unbelievable, some of the ones that they, create. Yeah. But when they do it 2 and 3 times a week, then they're kind of hard to believe. And the best thing is, to be honest, but you can't, keep saying over and over and over that this happened, this happened, this happened. You just have to either maybe adjust your time schedule at work if you can't be there at 8 o'clock. Maybe come up with, could you possibly start work at 8:30 or 9 and stay until 6 or 5:30? You got to come up with something. But if they just come up with these wild ideas why they're late every day over and over, and the stories that they come up with are just, they're just beyond belief. And
well,
so it's crazy.
Yeah, this survey, Market Watch released a survey from CareerBuilder here, and it was conducted online in the U.S. by the Harris Poll, and more than 2,200 managers and human resource professionals, and if more than 3,000 workers. They came up with the most memorable. Number 12 on the list was an employee was scared by a nightmare. What's even the thinking there? I don't even understand the thinking on that one.
I know. Who knows? So the nightmare is going to keep them up, and then I guess they oversleep, and then the nightmare bothers them. And, it's ridiculous. And these people, I think they spend more time coming up with these excuses than the reason for them not even being late in the morning. It's wild. And some of the things, they burnt their clothes in the morning. They were ironing their clothes, so they burnt them. But I suppose those are the only clothes that they have, so that's all they could possibly wear. Or their kids kept them up all night, or their partners, or their dog ate something, and it just goes on and on with their list of reasons. And then they make these up every day, and that's the same person, they're late every day. Or they couldn't find the right, clothes to wear, they couldn't find the right thing to eat in the morning. It's unbelievable.
I remember one of my favorite excuses was an employee of mine came in and blamed it on traffic, and I sat there and I thought, you do realize we do radio for a living, and we report on traffic 4 times an hour, right?
Oh, I know. Because I'm the same as you. I work out of my home, so I have no excuse. I come up 16 steps every morning. I'm in my office, and it really doesn't matter what I have on. I could wear sweats, I could wear shorts, I could wear jeans, whatever. But these people would come into work and they'd say, well, there was a delay. Well, it's the same exact thing. You turn on TV, you turn on the radio, you can hear what the delay is, but, they try the same things over and over. So you got to be a little bit more creative with what you're going to say and what you're going to do. But it goes back, just, be honest. But then you can't keep saying the same things over and over and over each day. So
right.
It's unbelievable.
Well, that's kind of my question. Is it okay to be honest? Is it okay to walk up to your boss and say, "Hey, my alarm didn't go off"? I'm sure that's
right.
up there with one of them.
But it's like you said, all these years you were never late. So if it's, and there has been times. Because I do work out of my home, and it depends on where you live and how far. But there are times, if you're a person that's, you're always on time, you're always this, you're always that, and you do sleep in. There was a time that I was to go to a meeting, and I was in a hotel, and so I had, a wake-up call. And so they did not wake me up. And so I got up, I thought, I feel so good, I'm so relaxed. this feels great. Well, the problem was they never gave me a wake-up call, so it was like almost an hour after I was supposed to wake up.
Oh, no.
And when I got there, everybody was like laughing when I walked in an hour after the meeting started. So I had to face up that I didn't get the wake-up call, and I just, I slept in. It felt great.
Oh,
it was
no.
wonderful.
Yeah.
But I took a beating the whole weekend for being late.
Sure.
But I was honest with everybody. And so now that there's cell phones, there's anything else, I get a wake-up call. I set my alarm in the room. I set my own phone. I do everything. So we just can't use that excuse over and over.
Yeah, on behalf of someone whose family ran hotels, I apologize. I apologize on behalf of the hotel industry. Well, let's talk about, what are some of the tips, what are some of the tips to handling this situation, and what are some things people can actually say beyond, if you're never late, hey, I'm sorry, it just happened.
That's it. Exactly it right there. You have to be, because, the whole thing with you want people to respect. If you say you're going to be there, if a meeting starts, you cannot have a bad reputation that you're always late. You can't, people just do not, and that's what you're going to be labeled. If a meeting starts at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, whatever it may be, then you want to be there because people want to start. Everybody's time now is so precious. If something starts at 9 o'clock, then you want to be there a couple minutes till 9. You have to be there a quarter till 9 or 10 till 9. Just be there in time, be organized, be ready, so everybody can start the meeting. You don't want it to be known that, she's going to show up at 10 till, or 10 after 9 or quarter after 9. You want to get in there, just so people don't say, well, she's always late or he's always late. That's a bad reputation to have. You want to go in, you want to have everything ready, be there a couple minutes till sit down. Don't come in after the meeting starts, then go get up and go get some coffee and do everything else that goes with it. It's a bad rap, and so you don't want to have that behind you. Just get in there, get on time. If listen to the radio. If you know that there's going to be, bad traffic or everything's under construction and everything else is going on, you got to build that into it. And if anything else is going on, you've got to take the time and have all that into it. You just have to, take the time, get up early. I'm a firm believer also. Put your clothes out the night before. So the next day you're not trying to figure out what you're going to wear, what's going on. Put your clothes out the night before. Have it all organized. If you have kids or you have to do anything else, get them off to school, whatever else, you've got to build all those things into it. Everything else has to be taken into account.
Colleen Rickenbacher is our etiquette expert. The website is crspeaks.com. Can I get you to hold on through the break? Because I do want to go through some of these excuses. They're great. And, I want to get into what if you fear your boss, that kind of thing. So if I could get you to hold on through the break, that would be great. Good Sunday afternoon. Matt Ray sitting in KGO Radio 810, taking your calls at 80-80-810, 415-808-0810 is the number. It's like we're on the same wave path with those bumps there, Will. Our guest this hour is Colleen Rickenbacher. She is an etiquette expert. The website is crspeaks.com. Before we went to the break, we were discussing the most memorable employee excuses for being late put out by CareerBuilder. And, in the event that you are late, just be honest. She mentioned checking, transportation, turn on the radio, turn on traffic on the 5s before you head on out to, get a good look at your commute this morning. But, Colleen, there are, you mentioned being honest and, laying out your clothes before you go to work and that kind of thing. But there are instances where you just are deathly afraid of your boss and you don't know what to say.
I know. That is the truth. And unfortunately, there are situations where people are petrified to go into work and you're just, but then unfortunately, if you do make up these wild stories and it just leads into other things and you can't remember what you said, but then you don't want to habitually be late because then it just adds more stories and it's bad the whole way around. It's nice to say, well, I'm not going to work anymore because I don't like my boss. You just want to get another job, but that's not the situation we're in now. Yeah. Unfortunately, you got to stay there. So it's just, you just got to either get up earlier or plan your day better or just work that you can get there and, make the best of it. And it's tough because depending on what's, where you are, where you live and, all the, circumstances to get there, sometimes you do have to get up awfully early to be there. And it's hard. Unfortunately, in my situation, I've always had a great boss, but I've known people that just, they hate to go to work. They don't like the circumstance they're in. And then to add the environment, they're sitting there. It's stressful when you're sitting there in traffic and the weather's bad or it rains or whatever, the situation may be. But then you want to go in and you want to make up this great story, but it's tough.
Is it ethical to use your kids? I mean, I always suspected employees with kids were kind of getting away, and I have kids now, but and I believe me, I know these schools, they schedule stuff in the middle of the day, and you're
Oh,
running
I
behind because
know.
your kid is sick. But is it? I mean, are you getting away with something if you just use your kids? I mean, because technically, they can't really question you on that.
No, I know, and that is a good excuse. It is, and now there's so many things because I mean, there's a million things. Well, I had to take him to dance, I had to take him to soccer, I had to take
Yeah,
him to football, I had to take him to, and it's an easy, likely, believable excuse. So, but make sure you have kids when you're using that excuse. Because I guess you could say I took my niece or nephew, but make sure you have one while you're doing stuff.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it is. I mean, or a grandchild or whatever the case may be. So, but you can only use it so many times. There's so many, aunts that are sick or so many or whatever. But yeah, they're likely and they're very usable excuses. So,
It was
but
pretty
after
amazing.
a while, they start writing them down. How many times you've used this excuse? There's so many times you can only write that down or say it, and then it kind of runs out.
It was pretty
So,
amazing to me that nearly a quarter of the employees in the survey admit to being tardy at least once a month. I mean,
oh, I know.
what's going on
I
there?
know. I know. It's just, people just, they to the point where I don't want to say they're lazy or they're just, they're tired or they partied too much or they, whatever the night before or they just slept in and then plus two, time gets away from you. And, I know I will get on my computer and I'll start checking messages and I'll look up
Sure.
and it's an hour later than I thought it was. So you got to get in a routine. You've
Yeah.
got to stay to a routine. And that's my biggest excuse. I'll get up and I'll say, well, I'll check another message or I'll get into a project and I'll look up and it's like 15 minutes from where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, where did the time go? And so we allow ourselves, to get away from that's why in the morning, especially in the morning, if I have an early morning meeting or something, I do not allow myself to get onto my computer. Because if
Yeah.
I do, I'm there and then it's time just flies by. And so you have to stay to a program. You have to get, in the morning if you have to be at work, and just do whatever you're supposed to do. If you can't have breakfast that morning because you slept in, then bag the breakfast, grab a banana or grab something and eat it on the way to work. You just have to stay to a program and, make sure that you're there. And the other thing is, too, if you do stop to get coffee or whatever, then if you're running late, the coffee, you just forget it. You just have to go.
Or grab one
Grab
for
it
the
at home and
boss.
be on your way. That's it. And then go. And then, or get to your desk, sit down, and then after you work for a while, then get up and go get some coffee in the break
Sure.
room later. You just got to get to a pattern. You have to stay to it. And it
Yeah.
may not be that morning because you slept in or whatever happened. But, people, you got to break that pattern. You just got to get to work on time.
Sure. You mentioned partying. Some of the most memorable excuses here. One employee woke up on the front lawn of a house 2 blocks away from his home. And another was late to work because he fell asleep in the car when he got to work. So
I know. And I mean, many years ago from college, I can remember some of those stories that people told, but,
yeah. Well, you mentioned a
maybe these
routine.
are all like generational answers, but, so, they're not too unbelievable, I hate to say.
Yeah. You mentioned a routine. I mean, in my routine for years, I wear the same thing every day. I mean, literally, I wear a black shirt, jeans, throw on my watch and a pair of dress shoes, and I go out the door. Literally every day for years, I've worn the same thing. And, that's part of my routine. I never have to, not that I would anyway, but I never have to think about what I'm going to wear. I have a, people probably think this is bizarre, but I have a drawer full of, black shirts, probably 20 of them. And I never have to worry about anything I'm going to wear. So a routine, definitely. I can definitely agree with you on that. Colleen Rickenbacher is an etiquette expert. The website is crspeaks.com. As always, we appreciate your time. Thank you, Colleen.
Always my pleasure, and you take care.
All right, take care.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.